Hey y'all, before we get started, I have a quick question for Emma Jaffe. Emma, I want to know, how is your brother doing? Oh, that's right, he's dead. It's a shame, really. I was hoping I could feed him to Pennywise the Clown or something, but I guess someone else already took away my fun. Today's podcast episode is actually kind of urgent. I'm kind of rushing to make this. But I need to acknowledge a psychopath living within the Tallahassee borders. He's in his 30s. His name is Jonathan Dean. Some of y'all might know him as the founder of Ghost Pro, and he also has his own construction business on the side. I used to be friends with Jonathan, and something that I always liked about Jonathan is number one, he was a very focused businessman. I mean, you have to be to get to that level of success. To achieve anything as a man, there comes a point in your life where you have to drop all the bullshit and focus. And he seemed to be doing that just fine. I later learned that that was all a fake act, but at the time, he had me pretty fooled. Another thing that I also did like about him is his tenacity, and he basically says what he wants to say without giving a single fuck about your feelings, which is something that I felt that him and I had in common. And him and I agreed on a lot of different things, from including politics and things going around the city, and also how people are just soft and easily offended. There was one time where I think he took it a little too far. So back in 2023, in the very beginning of 2024, we had two massive deaths that shook the FSU community. One being Caden Ingram and Theta Chi, and then shortly afterwards, Ashira Robinson from Delta Gamma tragically died. Both died due to drug-related problems. I did know both of them, although I didn't know them very well. However, I was close with people who were close with them. Tallahassee's like that. Everyone's connected in some way, shape, or form. At the time, I was running this group chat called Party Animals that me and a lot of my friends were in, including Jonathan and some others. And I remember during everyone's grieving, people were talking about them in the chat and mourning them. And Jonathan gets in the chat and he basically starts talking against drug problems, and so do some of his friends are basically talking against drug problems and how this happened because of drug-related issues. And long story short, he basically pissed off a bunch of the group chat members and got everyone to leave the group chat because he basically said that it was their fault their friends had died by encouraging them to do drugs. And he also implied that they had not learned their lesson because not long after that, people still went back to going out and partying and doing the very drugs that got their friends killed. So, while I agree with what Jonathan said, I feel like it wasn't the time, these people's friends had literally just died. He wasn't lying. What he said was truth. In fact, it was the brutal truth. However, I think to say that to their friends right after, let's just, I don't know, let me think of some crazy example. Let's say you're driving with your mom in the passenger seat, and you crash, and you survive, and your mom dies, and someone has the audacity to say to you, well, if you were driving more carefully, your mother would still be alive today. While true, brutally true, is that really the kind of thing that son needs to hear while his mother is being placed into her coffin? It's just completely insensitive. So while I didn't agree with Jonathan's approach to the matter, I didn't say anything on my end, and I stayed friends with him and with the people who left the group chat. Months later, I actually ended up working for Ghost Pro for probably a day or two before he fired me. See, they say that you should never work with friends or hire your friends, and this is not an extreme example, but it's an example. So I was working for Ghost Pro. Ghost Pro, what they do is they rent out equipment to clubs and set it up. And so I would help him set things up for shows and whatnot. One day, I got pulled over by a police officer because I was recklessly driving around drunk on my bicycle. Not an electric bike, just a normal bicycle. You can't get a DUI for drunk driving anything with wheels. If you're out drunk driving those orange scooters that you see out and about, you could technically get a DUI. What I was doing was not safe, and the officer was right in pulling me over. I thought I was about to go to jail, but the cop saw that I was a good person who was just being careless, and he let me go with a warning. So I was talking about it in the group chat, and then after some time had passed, I was like joking about it, because that's the kind of person I am. Like, if I'm in a serious situation, I always take it seriously in that moment. But after enough time has passed and everything is basically okay, like, okay, no one's dead, no one's going to jail, everyone's like, we're out of the graveyard, then they'll start joking about it. Well, for some reason, that really offended Jonathan Dean. He fired me on the spot, even though what I did had absolutely nothing to do with his company. And then he left the group chat, and he cut all ties with me. His girlfriend, Chloe Kruger, still followed me, which I thought was a little bit odd. I remember even talking to her about Jonathan cutting me off, and she said to me, she's like, oh, he doesn't hate you or anything. He's like, he just doesn't want to be around you because you're associated with too much drama. Something like that. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not buying that bullshit. First of all, everyone has drama. Every single one of us, even those who claim that don't have drama. I'm sorry, unless you're sitting in your house and you haven't seen another human for days, you have drama of some sort. We all do. I expose people for doing shit that they're not supposed to be doing. So naturally, I have more drama because naturally, those people who are being exposed are coming after me and trying to shut me up. That being said, is that really different from all these fraternities and sororities who are fighting with each other for no reason? From all the students who treat their life like a soap opera, you know? He slept with her, she slept with him, he fought him. I mean, if you talk to any of these sheep for more than 5 minutes, their life is basically one giant drama circle that they could have easily avoided. So I don't think I necessarily have... Well, I might have a tad bit more drama because I expose bad people and then that prompts bad people to come after me. But I more so think it's because I publicize my drama. It seems like I have way more drama than anyone else. No, I don't. I was kind of pissed because I'm like, you know, I thought we were friends and what you're doing is kind of extreme, and I feel like Jonathan went through a period in time where he was just raging out at anyone for any reason. So I'm like, whatever. Guy doesn't want to be my friend. He doesn't want to be my friend. I don't care. Then he starts shit-talking me to the entire city. And I know this for a fact because a lot of our mutual friends started cutting ties with me right after Jonathan did. And, plenty of people told me that he was talking shit about me, that he was basically saying that I was a psychotic, mental, crazy, disturbed person. And, you know, he definitely changed a lot of people's perspectives of me because of the way he was talking about me after he cut me off. I'm like, okay, one thing is to cut me off, but to go and shit talk me to the entire city, like, that's just immature, dude. That's real immature. Someone even told me about it because I brought this up to one of our mutual friends, and I'm like, hey, so, like, did I do something else that pissed him off and he's just not telling me? Because what he's doing is very, very extreme. And, our mutual friend goes, he's like, no, he's got a steroid problem and he's got a drug problem that causes him to rage out at random people because he can't control himself. And I also mentioned that Kruger seems to not have a problem with me, and my friend goes, yeah, she's the one who wears the pants in that relationship. Basically implying the same thing that I'm implying right now, that Jonathan is a fucking man-child. And I don't have a personal problem with Kruger, but I think it's a little odd that she still follows me when her husband clearly has a problem with me. Now, it's their relationship, their business, but me personally, if I just cut someone off, or if I didn't like somebody, and then my wife or girlfriend was like, oh, it's cool though, I'm still gonna follow them online, I'm still gonna be their friend, I'd be like, no, that's not okay. You're my bitch. Why are you being friendly to the guy that I just fired and cut off? Like, that would be my perspective. If it were me, I'd be like, why the fuck are you talking to this guy? So yeah, that's very strange.
I fucking hate you! Oh my god!
Give me 1 second. Hello? Alright, where was I? So, why am I bringing up Jonathan Dean now? Well, because he's basically back in his same routine of bullshit and spreading rumors about me. And this is what happened. So, the other day I had a friend over, and my friend was like, oh, Jonathan called me the other day, he's worried about you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And my friend basically told me what happened in the conversation. So basically, I recently had a powwow with Meadow Eads. Meadow Eads is this, Tallahassee's the biggest bop right now. I mean, she says, oh, I'm not a whore, but her timeline is full of bikini pics. And she's upset because everyone's accusing her of having an OnlyFans. And she's like, I don't have an OnlyFans, I'm tired of hearing that. It's crazy to me how Tallahassee is full of whores, yet only a few get accused of having an OnlyFans. I mean, just look up Meadow Eads on Instagram and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This woman has zero brain whatsoever and is definitely a fucking whore. I'm not a whore. Then why the fuck are you dressed like one? If it looks like a duck and it waddles like a duck, well, it must be a fucking squirrel then, I guess. I guess I'm the stupid one. So I've called her out quite a few times for the shit that she's pulled. She said, I don't appreciate this being posting. And I said, don't you mean post-ed? Like, how are you literally going to college and you can't even speak properly? And I said to her, look at you. You are the reason your father killed himself. And then she blocked me, and then she proceeded to make a video about how I'm being hateful, and I'm being bullied, and I know there's other people going through this, and just know that you're not alone. And her eyes were bright red. She was either crying or she was high. It was one or both. And then at the end of the video, she says, I try not to let it get to me. Oh, okay, but here you are making a whole last video about it. Okay. Yeah, it's not getting to you. It's not clonking to you at all. I definitely didn't get under your skin. Now, I think the reason why I had such a big effect on her is because what I said is absolutely true. And I still stand by that. And I've said it more than once that she's the reason her father killed himself. Because think about it. As a man, you're supposed to sacrifice yourself for the ones you love, right? You put your children's happiness before your own. You put your wife's happiness before your own. So why would a man with a wife and family kill himself? Like, I understand you might be depressed. I understand it might be too much to handle. Why wouldn't he think in the back of his head, I have a family. If I take myself out, then my children will have to grow up without a father. Can't you at least, if you want to kill yourself that bad, can't you at least wait until your daughters are grown and on their own and they can take care of themselves so that when they have to deal with the passing of their father, at least they don't have to deal with growing up without one? And Meadow did what every girl who grows up without a father does, is she becomes a fucking undisciplined whore. And I'd also like to add that Meadow Eads spends a lot of time with the Nova cunts, including that faggot, Fred Lane. Yeah, she hangs out with the people who try to get me evicted over a fucking doll. Yeah, great person we're talking about here. That looks really good. So I'm like, alright, so let's see. So you're a whore, you hang out with the Nova cunts. Like, me personally, if I was her father, if I'm looking down from heaven and I'm looking at what she's doing, I'd be like, yeah, I'm fucking glad I'm dead. Why would anyone want any relation to Meadow Eads whatsoever? The only thing she could possibly be good for is sucking dick. But I'm not a whore, guys. Right, and I identify as a white person. That makes me white, right? Fucking bitch. So anyway, so we're both posting about it now, because I reposted her video and I reposted the screenshot she posted. Jonathan calls my friend up and he's like, what's with this post? He's like, he's attacking this girl for no reason. And he's like, does Adonis have like some sort of mental illness? He seems mentally ill or something. Like, he seems mentally disturbed. He's like, people who post aggressively like that are mentally disturbed. Okay, well, you could tell your girlfriend to stop following me then, and you could not look at my page instead of calling my friends and complaining about it. He's like, I'm just worried. I want to see how he's doing. And then he brought up the Annabelle case, and he's like, he gives me serial killer vibes. And my friend had to reassure him. He's like, he's not a serial killer. Like, he's cool, he just goes on rants online, but that doesn't mean he's a sane person. I'm like, yeah, it shouldn't have to take a friend who knows me well to realize that. Like, this is the funny thing. Jonathan Dean is a Republican. He's a conservative, or so he claims, but he whines like a fucking liberal, like a fucking crybaby liberal, because he's a crybaby man-child. I would expect this guy, nothing offends this guy, because conservatives, we're known to take shit, and we're known to also talk shit. Like, we state our opinions boldly and loudly, and we don't care how you interpret it. You can call us a Nazi, you can call us a pedophile, you can call us any bad name in the book, as the liberals often do. And we will sit there and we're like, we don't care because we know the truth, and we're not going to believe your lies. But Jonathan is the kind of man to talk a lot of shit, but he can't take any shit back himself. He will talk shit to you. He will tell you that it's your fault your friend died from drugs. But then when you talk shit back to him, he gets all offended and his fragile ego gets shattered and he rages out like a madman. That's another thing. Jonathan's a fucking hypocrite. Because he's mad at me because, Meadow Eads is the reason her father killed himself. I'm like, okay, what is the difference between that and you telling a bunch of my friends that it was their fault their friends died from drug overdoses? Honestly, listen, at least Eads' father died years ago. He died when she was 12. She's 19 now. This motherfucker is actually worse than I am because literally the day after these people died, he had the audacity to put in the group chat, by the way, it's your fault that your friends are dead because y'all were out doing drugs together. And then he has the audacity to come after me and be like, well, I think Adonis is mentally insane because he told a girl that it was her fault her father killed himself. Yeah, it is her fault, first of all. You want to talk about being brutally honest here. It is her fault, first of all. Because no man who is proud of his family is going to look down on his family and say, you know what, I'm still going to take myself out. No man is going to do that. When I was doing the Annabelle prank, I dealt with a lot of people accusing me of shit that I would never in a million years do. People said that I was going to become a serial killer. People said that I was going to shoot the school up. People basically tried to frame me as a psychopath. And I'm just like, I really, really don't understand how you see that doll and automatically think, this guy's gonna become a serial killer. I really don't understand that at all. Like, what is the correlation? That is liberal logic right there. That is liberal, immature way of thinking. To look at a doll and go, oh, yeah, he's gonna kill people. Which is basically what Jonathan's doing now, is like, oh yeah, he's giving serial killer vibes. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like, you say you're conservative, you say you're American, you support freedom of speech and all that, but you believe I deserve to get attacked for a doll? Do you believe? Jonathan is one of the people who believes that I deserve to get trespassed from the entire school for simply walking around with a doll. He believes that I deserve to get locked up. He believes that I'm mentally and clinically insane for having a doll around and for stating my opinion online. Free speech, right? Until I state my opinion. Mind you, a lot of my opinions are identical to his. But this is what I've learned. He can say whatever he wants to when it's my turn to speak. Even if my opinions are exact to his, it's not okay. This man is a fucking hypocrite. And I told my friend, I'm like, I'm gonna make a podcast right now, and I'm going to attack him and expose him because this man's an idiot. And my friend was like, well, you shouldn't do that because, I don't think he's looking for a fight. He said he doesn't hate you, he's just concerned about you. I'm like, that's bullshit, because that's exactly what he did 2 years ago when he cut me off, and then went across the entire city. Adonis has mental problems. Adonis is insane. He's literally doing now exactly what he did back then. Mind you, this man is someone who I mistook as my friend, and I trusted him, and he was fully aware that I was dealing with shit. I was going through family problems. I was trying to figure out my living situation because of said family problems. There was a bunch of other shit I was dealing with. And then he consciously made the decision to add on top of all that bullshit. So yeah, Jonathan is a fake bitch. He's a little bitch boy. And he's a coward because, let me tell you something else. Why isn't he saying any of this shit to me? He hides behind a keyboard. He hides behind my friends, trying to get my friends to turn against me, which he, by the way, has successfully done with a lot of people. He takes advantage of the fact that people here are idiots, and then he used that to his advantage to manipulate those people into turning against me and viewing me as a bad guy instead of him. He's the real enemy. He's the real threat to this city. Who do you think is more threatening? A guy walking around with a doll because it's funny to see people's reactions? Or a guy who can rage out at any random time because he's addicted to drugs and steroids? Ironically, he will also criticize you for your friend's death while he's doing drugs himself. Even if it's just steroids that he's doing, steroids is a fucking drug, man. You're a fucking hypocrite, Jonathan Dean. You are a fucking hypocrite. So this guy, when I have a problem with somebody, I don't gossip behind their back. I say it to their face. Even if I don't say it to their face, because I'm not going to track them down if I have some shit to say. I might say something like, talk to the camera, like I'm calling Jonathan Dean out right now. You know it's me. You're well aware that I'm talking shit about Jonathan Dean. If he wants to confront me face to face about this, he can. Because guess what? I'm being open and honest. I'll make a post and tag him in that post so he's fully aware. Hey, I'm talking shit about you. I want you to know that I'm talking shit about you. That's honor. That's respect. What he's doing, what other people do, is they make fake accounts, hide behind keyboards, and gossip behind other people's backs. But then they fall silent when you're in the room. That is the act of a coward. Jonathan is a fucking coward. And then my friend goes, oh, by the way, he's got a podcast now. It's up on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. And he spent probably a good hour trying to find this podcast. It's on his Instagram. It's not linked to anything. I'm like, so this guy has a podcast that nobody knows about because he can't do something as simple as put a link in his bio? And I said to my friend, I'm like, listen, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that you don't know the full story. And I said to my friend, I understand that you think, because of the way that he spoke to you, that he just cares about me and that he's concerned about me and he's reaching out to a friend of mine to see how I'm doing because I'm concerned. And I said, I'm telling you that's not the case because I'm recognizing the exact same pattern that he used to con everyone else back when he cut me off. And the more I hear about this guy, against my will, mind you, because I really don't fucking care, the more of an idiot he sounds like. And I find myself disappointed in myself because I'm sit back and I'm going, I can't believe I was ever friends with this faggot. This guy is a clown. He's a fucking faggot. Like, it actually pisses me off. Like, I'm actually upset at myself for being so dumb back in the day that I actually hung out with this guy and viewed him at one point and viewed him as like one of my top friends. Him with a bunch of other people. Like, I actually look back and I find myself thinking, what the actual fuck was wrong with me? There's a lot of people that I don't know anything about because I don't like them and I don't keep tabs on the people that I don't like. I don't know what's going on in Emma Jaffe's life. I have no idea. This is the first time that I've heard anything about Jonathan in quite a while because I do not speak to him. I have ran into him a couple times after he cut me off, and ironically, he's very friendly and conversational with me for the most part when he sees me out in public. But then he talks shit behind my back. Wow. I have high suspicion that he was doing the same thing too when he was posing as my friend. There is a lot wrong with that man. And it's always the people going nowhere in life who have shit to say. Jonathan is a fucking loser. He's a fucking nobody. Who do you think is more famous in this city, me or him? Be honest. Because when I used to go out with Jonathan, people weren't approaching him asking him for selfies. They were approaching me. Oh, look, there's his girlfriend's profile. Here, see how it says follow back? I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And then I'm going to hit the block button. Because I am sick and tired of dealing with everyone's bullshit. I might not have any prior issues with Kruger, but guess what? I most certainly have a problem with her pathetic boyfriend. So probably what's going on is either Jonathan is taking the time out of his day to look at my profiles, or because his girlfriend follows me, she is showing him the stuff that I'm posting. And then he says to himself, well, how do I stir up some drama? Hey man, I'm really worried about Adonis. Is he okay? Yes, I'm fine. Everyone knows that this is the kind of person I am. Everyone knows this is what I post. If you think me telling Aids that she's the reason her father died is bad, you are in for a roller coaster ride because that is far from the worst thing that I've done. It's funny, I was talking to someone the other day about the Annabelle case, and we were talking about how it's probably one of the most controversial things that I've done, yet the thing that people whine the most about is not even the worst thing I've ever done. I do far worse shit than that on a regular fucking basis. I recently tricked some of my best friends into thinking that I had cancer. Fully convinced. Mind you, these are actual friends of mine. These are people that I would die for. And people are telling me that I'm evil for doing that. If I'm so merciless towards my own friends, do you really think that I'm going to show any mercy whatsoever to my enemies, to the people who I don't like? No matter how many times I get rid of that stupid bitch Coney Lane, she always finds some way to slither back into my business. Somehow she knows about the cancer. I'll tell you exactly how she's doing that. She's spying on me through a fake account on Instagram. Spoiler alert, guys, cyber stalking is actually highly illegal. Funny enough, the cops told both of us to leave each other alone. And then Carly's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get his attention by telling his neighbors that he's threatening to kill me. And now she's contacting me through a friend of ours Basically, my friend texts me, she's like, oh, she wants to talk to you, she's worried about the cancer. And I told my friend, I'm like, tell her I'm glad that I'm dying soon, so I don't have to put up with her bullshit anymore. And then I tricked Carly into thinking that I'm going to commit suicide, all because of her. For now, it's a trick. If she keeps talking to me, I actually will kill myself. Because I'd rather be rotting in hell than dealing with her shit every few months. I need y'all to take this seriously, because this is serious. If there ever comes a day where I do take my own life, the blame for that suicide will entirely fall on Carly Lane. So to summarize, everyone, Jonathan Dean is an idiot who can't mind his own business. This guy rages out and cuts me off over something that has absolutely nothing to do with him, proceeds to talk shit and spread rumors and frame me as a psychopath, essentially, for 2 whole years, then takes a quick break, runs into me a few times, is nice to me in person, but talks shit behind my back because he's a fucking coward. And now he's back to his same bullshit where he's calling up my friends and trying to manipulate them into thinking that I'm a psychopath. Mind you, he's the one who cut ties with me. I wasn't the one who decided not to be friends with him. He's the one who decided to cut ties with me. And then he allows his girlfriend to follow me for some reason. It's their relationship, their business, but once again, if it were my girlfriend, why the fuck are you following people that I don't follow? That is not okay. At all. So, this is my final message to Jonathan Dean. You need to mind your fucking business. You need to learn how to stop being a fucking hypocrite. Because you literally do the same shit I do, but then you criticize me for it. Maybe the reason why you hate me so much, I know you claim that you don't hate me, but maybe the reason why you hate me so much is because you see parts of yourself in me that you don't like. And that's why you're so hateful towards me. And I most certainly hate you because you're a constant fucking thorn up my ass. Let me state this to you very clearly, Mr. Dean. Learn to keep your nose out of my fucking business, or else you and I are going to have some major problems. I will make your life so miserable, you are gonna wish that your mother had a fucking abortion. You have some shit to say to me? Say it to my face. Say it to my face like a man, instead of acting like a 30-year-old boy that you are and trying to gossip about me behind my back to all my friends. I've had enough of your pathetic bullshit. You have some shit to say it right to my face. And for the record, next time I run into Jonathan, because I'm sure I will, I'm going to confront him face to face. I want everyone to know this. I want the entire city to know that I hate Jonathan Dean. I have a problem with Jonathan Dean. Jonathan Dean is my enemy. And there is going to be a problem next time I see him out in public. So I'm going to keep doing my podcast. My podcast is going to be more successful than his because I actually promote my shit. He just makes a podcast and then just leaves it there. My whole life is based around making podcasts and then promoting said podcasts. Jonathan doesn't know what the fuck he wants to do with his life. There's even a rumor going around that he's not even doing Ghost Pro anymore. So he basically started up a company for nothing. Jonathan Dean is a loser who can't mind his own business and a con man and a drug-addicted psychopath. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the Adonis podcast. Everyone who knows Jonathan, please send him this podcast so that he's fully aware that I have a massive problem with him. And for the record, I am more than willing to punch it out if talking doesn't solve a problem. Once again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned to see what happens next.